Welcome to the Dummy Kruger channel, everyone. Today's video brings us to Farmington, New Mexico with an update on the latest legal troubles of First Amendment Auditor Four Corners Fist in the Air. Earlier this month, he and fellow freedom fighter Press for Transparency set out to do some journalisming that eventually led to both of their arrests and a revocation of Four Corners probation. We're going to briefly look over their quote audit that resulted in their arrests, their charges, and why Four Corners will be spending the next 2 months in jail. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe, get notified, like, and comment below. Let's jump right in.
Got a few units here at this business. Next door is law office. Law office is what it is. Medina. There. For officer safety. I know we just got a call. What was the call? What does the call say? Press?
I'm trying to read it.
Okay. I'm looking out the window over there. Incoming, incoming. Well, you should have had it done in the first place. What did it say?
Dude, it was so much glare, it was hard to get a good...
Is it closed?
Man, yeah, I wasn't able to get anything used for it, I think.
While First Amendment auditors' intentions may vary, a lot engage in provocative behavior, such as purposely entering private property or filming sensitive areas like inside police vehicles to test the boundaries of free speech and law enforcement responses. Walking onto private property without permission and recording inside police vehicles, especially when they have their computers open, can indeed be seen as provocative and potentially risky behavior. While the First Amendment protects the right to record in public spaces where there is no expectation of privacy, such as streets and parks, it's essential to exercise this right responsibly. Purposely instigating confrontations or trespassing onto private property in the name of testing these rights can undermine legitimate efforts to hold public officials accountable and may lead to unintended consequences. As a matter of fact, a recently passed bill in the Indiana House of Representatives is the direct result of a First Amendment auditor. I'll be covering that story soon.
If we're lucky, maybe we'll get an attorney out of our cop watch here.
Oof, there's a big dose of irony about to come up. The private business they are currently at is a law office, and as we will soon see, one of the attorneys at this office does appear at one of their court hearings. Not to defend them, of course, but to testify against them. So the officers soon leave the law office and walk across the street to speak with the person that was the initial cause of the police presence.
film, but can you guys come across the street for me, please?
Can you go somewhere else?
Hey, sir, I don't mind if you
Go
film,
somewhere else.
but right now, can you go across the
Can you
street
hear
for me,
me?
please?
Can you hear me?
Sir, I need you to at least across the street.
You get your name and badge number?
Okay?
Name and badge number?
Young
I'm not being
R924.
quiet. Can you
Young?
just go across the street for me?
9204.
Sir, you are in
924.
924. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir, I need you to go across the street for me. For my safety, I need you to go across the street while I talk to this gentleman. He does not want to be filmed.
So the attorney from across the street that later testified against Four Corners during his probation hearing claimed that the man in the truck was threatening him with physical violence, which led to him actually having to wear a bulletproof vest at work. This was apparently a much more volatile scene than they realized.
I don't know. Yeah.
Sir, I'm going to need you to go across the
You
street.
want me to get out?
No, just stay in your car. It's okay.
Can I get
Sir,
out?
I'm going to need you to go across the street. You are interfering with my investigation.
You hear me?
It's got to be physical act, ma'am.
I need you to go across the street.
away from us, please.
What's your name, badge number?
It's Officer Boyd 913.
Officer Boyd's.
All right, Rudy.
So
that?
we need to tell you about some case law. It's called Brandsburg v. Hayes. It's a Supreme Court case that basically says that the press has the right to be wherever the public's allowed. And so right now we're on a public sidewalk, which is a traditional public forum, and we're gonna exercise our right here. We're invoking our First Amendment rights here.
Oh, you invoke your First Amendment rights, huh? Someone has clearly been watching too much Delete Laws. I'm sure that's where he also got the case law he cited as well. And shockingly, it doesn't say what he claims it says. In Brandsburg v. Hayes, the Supreme Court considered the balance between a journalist's First Amendment rights and the government's interest in compelling testimony in criminal investigations. The case involved 3 separate instances where reporters had witnessed criminal activity or had information about criminal acts and were subpoenaed to testify before grand juries. In a 5-4 decision, the court rejected the argument that the First Amendment provides journalists with an absolute privilege against testifying in such situations. The court recognized that requiring journalists to testify could have a chilling effect on their ability to gather news. However, it held that this potential burden was outweighed by the government's need for information in criminal investigations. Importantly, the court did not completely foreclose the possibility of a reporter invoking the First Amendment in certain circumstances. It suggested that a journalist could challenge a subpoena if it was issued in bad faith, or if the information sought was not relevant to a legitimate law enforcement inquiry. The court's decision emphasized the balance between the First Amendment's protection of press freedom and the government's interest in investigating crimes. You can find that whole case in the description below.
Hey,
Starting with
turn that motherfucking
Chief.
thing around. Turn that. I'm gonna beat your fucking ass. Look.
Thank you.
pussy.
I want
Look,
video.
cunt. Look. Hey, loser.
That's what's called freedom of speech there.
Oh, bitch, you're not big enough.
You can see here how the situation was escalating, even prompting the officer to grasp her firearm. I'm told the man in the truck was arrested days later, but I wasn't able to verify it myself. Backup quickly arrives on scene.
How's it going?
Can we give them a little bit of space so they can do what they need to do?
I gave him a little just a minute ago.
Can we give them a little bit more? I'm fine with us talking about what's going on, but this is something we just need a little bit of space on.
Okay.
You don't want us to hear or see anything? Is that what's going on?
No, I mean, if we could just take a few steps back, that's fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, you
Now
guys got your
and now that
footstep.
we're here, just so that they don't have to keep looking over their shoulder, and that's it.
We're just filming. That's all we're doing.
I know what you're doing, and that's fine.
Why they so intimidated by a couple? You guys know me. You guys know I don't. You know.
I know. But they can't look over their back and talk to this guy who's kind of upset at the same time. So now that we're here, you're fine.
So that was really the end of their interaction. After this, Four Corners went dark for a few days, which is abnormal for him. We find out why he went dark a few days later when he called into a live stream on YouTube while sitting in jail.
All right, Four Corners, Fists in the Air is on the phone from the detention center in New Mexico. So, Four Corners, welcome in, brother. You're live.
Because I had a warrant. They put a warrant out on me for that, for resisting arrest and obstructing.
Yep.
About when press was transparent and I were filming. that law office in Farmington.
So
Yeah.
then, how many days after that filming session, did they have your warrant out? 2 days or a day?
2 days later, and this happened on a Tuesday.
2 days later, they picked you up on a Friday.
Thursday is when they put the warrant out. Thursday.
Okay, and they picked you.
Fridays when they came. Then Fridays when they came to my work. Well,
Okay,
7:30, quarter to 12 in the morning.
so they picked you up on a Friday, and brought you in, and you were in there for 5 days, right?
Right.
Okay, so what exactly happened and why is he currently incarcerated after saying on this live stream he was in jail for only 5 days? Well, I'm glad you asked. Press for Transparency and Four Corners were both picked up on arrest warrants and charged with obstructing or resisting an officer. Both eventually were able to bond out. However, that was just the beginning for Four Corners' legal woes.
One charge I was charged with criminal trespass. With I never there was no criminal intent at the park anyways, and it was on public property. The signs only never had any city ordinances annotations on it neither. And so they charged me with criminal trespass, and that's where this is the reason why they're doing what they're doing. They put me on unsupervised probation, which is not unsupervised probation. It's more or less supervised probation because they were keeping an eye on me anyway.
To add to what he was saying here, Four Corners was recently found guilty of trespassing after being asked to leave a closed park on at least 6 different occasions. His sentence included 90 days in jail, suspended with 1 year probation. Upon release from this obstruction charge, he was notified that he had a parole revocation hearing the following day. This is what he said about the hearing.
And, that's when I text my lawyer and let him know that I was in court right now. And he asked for my phone number, and he called over there, and he kind of hinted to me this is what he understands is I'm there for a probation violation. He says, if anything, if you're going to do anything else, plead not guilty. And if you're there for a probation hearing, just tell them that you just want to be reinstated. They just testified against me, saying that that we were antagonizing the guy by filming him, and he said he was getting mad at us for filming him, and the attorney said that he had to wear a bulletproof vest, and he said that I'm lucky that he didn't get off and hurt me.
Yeah.
The attorney, he works there in Farmington. I know he's contracted with Farmington also. An attorney, they got him to testify against me too. It was him, the female officer, and one of the ladies at work. I think she was a probation officer.
So the attorney who was wearing a bulletproof vest at his office testified at the hearing yesterday?
Oh yeah, he testified against me.
Yeah, he testified against him.
Saying that we're the ones that, instigated the whole thing pretty much. Saying that we're thinking that we're First Amendment auditors. Like when all this was pretty much over, I told him, I never resisted, I never obstructed. I'm just there protecting my First Amendment. And then the way they testified against me, they think it's a joke what I'm doing. They think it's I'm there just to film, just to get views and all that. That's the way they were talking about it. That I don't have a right to be doing this. The judge asked me, well, do you have a final say about all this? And I told him, yeah, I plead not guilty. And the judge told me, no matter what you plead, you're being sentenced to 66 days in jail.
When he said he was pleading not guilty, he was referring to the new obstruction charge. However, the judge reviewed the evidence, listened to 3 separate witnesses, and determined there was cause for Four Corners to spend the next 66 days locked up. I have a Four Corners playlist linked in the description below, so make sure to check out what led up to this event if you haven't had the opportunity to. Lastly, I wanted to touch on something briefly that I noticed in the comments when I produce a video on Four Corners Fist in the Air. He shares the exact name with another person in New Mexico that has been convicted of a sex crime with a minor. They are not the same person. Four Corners and this man have different birthdays, different middle names, and look absolutely nothing alike. That man is currently incarcerated after he failed to register as a sex offender. So please, no more comments about Four Corners having such a conviction on his record. I really hope that clears things up for some. Alright, I think we'll end it up here. I truly appreciate everyone for taking the time to watch the video. This is Dummy Kruger, and I'll see you guys on the next one.